Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
Warning. Readings indicate this area is contaminated.
You must be lost.
What's going on, everyone? How's it going, Digital Pizza? FJ here, and I'm so excited to finally be able to talk to you guys about The Division, Ubisoft's brand new open-world third-person shooter. This is a game that has been hyped up for the last several years and has been labeled by IGN as the best new franchise. It is also said to be the most realistic and terrifying version of the apocalypse, with others claiming it to be the real deal. With such broad acclaim, it's no wonder why I was so excited to try the game out for myself. Hold on one second, guys. I seem to be receiving some sort of interference. Whoa.
Hey, agents. Sorry for the interruption, but I just had to fix that BS I saw going across the screen. That should do the trick. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Who was that? And did he just salute with his left hand? BS going across the screen. What is this guy even talking about? Most grind-intensive game ever? What? Never before has a game featured such pointless endgame farming. No PvP? Okay guys. Now I know this guy is a troll. There's no way he's talking about the same game. I mean, did he even play the beta?
I've got a flash, I'm dead. Oh my god, they got us all down? What? We're all down? I'm out.
Oh, revive me.
I can't. Oh no.
That guy got wrecked. You know what? I'm just going to dismiss whatever he said, and I'm going to go play The Division right now. I'll be back in a few to let you all know how good it was. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. It's unfortunate, guys, but I have to report that the guy who hacked into our system yesterday was right. This game sucks. Seriously though, what the heck happened? After playing both the closed and open beta for this game, I was convinced that it was going to be my next time sink. With the engaging and thrilling PvP action and the new and fresh rogue system, I was sure this game was going to be very entertaining. But it's like the developers saw the fun people were having during the beta and decided to shut it down. I mean, did they even want this game to have PvP? It sure doesn't seem like it. And let me tell you why the PvP area of this game, also known as the Dark Zone, is just another run and gun PvE area. In the Dark Zone, you have the opportunity to buy unique weapons and armor that are likely better than what you have the first time you visit. The problem is, these items require a Dark Zone rank of 50 or even 75. We're talking about 20 plus hours of grinding the same boring enemies over and over again just so that you can have enough experience and credits to buy what you want. Okay, so now you add that to the severe punishment system against the rogues that the game had at launch, which meant that if a player went rogue, even by accident, and they died, they would lose hours worth of EXP and credits. Seriously, who thought this was a good system? It's the reason that the first couple of weeks after this game's release, the Dark Zone wasn't really a Dark Zone at all. I mean, guess how many rogues I've killed since the game released? Well, those are some good guesses, Digital Pizza, but try 9. 9. And before anybody tries to blame it on my gun skill or even my equipment, let me go ahead and squash that argument before it starts. After playing games for over 25 years, I'm pretty sure I know how to aim in the virtual world. And although my gear here isn't the best, it is clearly good enough to take down a PvP opponent, especially during the first month after this game's launch. Now, it is important to note that since the game's launch date, Ubisoft has released an update and several hotfixes that have drastically improved several problems that I had with the game. But unfortunately, they came just a little too late, as I found myself not really caring for the game anymore. And you know that new, cool supply drop Dark Zone event that is supposed to get agents so excited and thrilled? So much so that they would fight over it? Yeah, well, it turns out that was pretty lame as well. Is someone shooting at me? That kind of tickles. To be honest, I think I was more in danger of this box blowing up than I was from the players. And the couple of times that I received items from these events, they were worse than what I already had. So yeah, the Dark Zone is still dead. PvE. The game actually manages to do some things right on the PvE side, thankfully. If you ever wanted to know what it was like to visit New York during an apocalyptic event, then you should probably check this game out. The art teams here did a fantastic job of recreating a large portion of the city, with what seems to be a 1-to-1 scale. And the dynamic weather, abandoned cars and apartments, and bodies of the deceased lying around every corner really help portray an atmosphere of helplessness and a city on the verge of self-destruction. I guess that's one way to go out. And this is even more evident when you venture into the Dark Zone and start heading farther north. I mean, just take a look at this area players call the pit. My thoughts exactly. And the game's engine and physics system help in this regard, by making the players feel like they can actually alter a small part of the world. Shooting tires is actually really fun, but be careful not to point your weapon at everything you see in the environment. Don't worry, Digital Pizza, it only happened a couple more times after that. The story, to be frank, The story was average, and I would even go as far as saying forgettable. But it does fit within the Tom Clancy license, so I'll give it that. To summarize, it's about some terrorists and a company who decides that they want to create their own environment of natural selection. So what do? Well, they create a new strain of the smallpox virus. They place it on the city's currency during an especially busy holiday, and, well, they let the citizens spread the wealth. The number of infected people climbs rapidly until eventually the city crumbles onto itself. And this is where you come into play. As a member of a secret organization known as the Division, you are called into action to investigate the origins of the outbreak, search for the whereabouts of the first wave of agents, and ultimately to help the JTF take the city back. But it won't be such an easy task. The collapse of the city's government has given rise to those who think they're above the law. You have the Cleaners, a group of New York citizens who feel the best way to clear up the outbreak is by burning it, and anyone infected by it. You have the Last Battalion, a private military organization that was originally called to assist with the city's troubles, but has since taken things into their own hands. And lastly, the Riders and Rikers, a group of low-life criminals and, well, crazy escaped convicts.
It was going to be a bad season, and that's what we thought this was. So we gave them fluids and sent them home like you do. I mean, how are we supposed to know?
Now, although this game is somewhat flexible in how the player progresses through the story, there isn't a whole lot of variation. First off, you have the main missions which allow you to rescue and secure key assets, or take out strategic enemy positions. I would compare these to the strike missions in Destiny, where you fight your way through waves of mobs until you finally reach the bullet sponge boss. After defeating the sponge in a given area, you can run over to one of several side missions, which will help you uncover details about the outbreak's origins and what happened to the agents of the first wave. Or you can assist the JTF in taking control of a given area. Now, most players would simply skip over the repetitive and boring JTF missions you see scattered all throughout the map, but Ubisoft was somewhat clever in how they force the player to complete these missions. You see, at the center of all your efforts is a base of operations. You can think of this as your central hub or tower in Destiny, only you have an opportunity here to expand it. As you complete the different story missions and JTF missions in the game, the base slowly grows, revealing new vendors, materials, item crates, crafting stations, and even a gun range. And I can tell you, this was a great idea and a fantastic addition to the game that helps the player tweak their weapons and character to their exact liking. It's also important to note that your character's skills and abilities are unlocked as you make progress to the 3 wings in the base. So if you're leaning towards a character build that heals, you'll want to complete the medical wing first. Those of you who want to run a tank build with the riot shield will probably want to focus on the security missions. And lastly, those of you who fancy support classes with crowd control abilities will want to focus on the tech missions. Eventually though, you'll just end up grinding through most of the missions to unlock everything, because, well, it's nice to have some options when it comes to customization. You also notice that when you clear up all the missions in a given area, a wave of new markers blankets the screen. These are what I would consider the collectibles of the game, and being the completionist that I am, I went in search of all of them. Finding random cell phones with recorded messages, crashed drones with vital information, recorded echoes of past events, and missing agent locations weren't the most enjoyable things I've done in a video game, but I found that they did a great job of keeping the player in tune with the story, and even made me feel bad for the victims of the collapse.
Run! Shit! 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 Come on! You gotta move! Do now! You can't run! Get back here, you fucking... Fuck! Open it! Do it!
This was also a great way of providing some extra information in-game rather than on some external website. And some of the things that I found were actually kind of funny.
Damn, these game things are expensive. What's a kid supposed to do with a $400 game box thing anyway?
They need something good in their lives, babe. It's been a tough year.
I know. Listen, how about you and me, we just give each other cards this year? I mean, do we really need more stuff?
Really?
I just want a family, honey. Just get your kids to call me Mom, and I'll be good.
I think you're gonna be Janet for a long while.
You don't think this console will do the trick?
We'll see. Love you, sweet thing.
Whoa, Digital Pizza, you need to relax. Another plus to collecting these items are the awesome and unique jackets you can earn. I mean, just look at how cool these are. Yeah. Whoa, a pink one? That'll definitely intimidate my enemies. And on your scavenger hunt, you might even find an Easter egg or two.
I said, what if someone here is sick?
Then we all die!
That was such a good show. Well, that brings us to the last part of the review, the endgame. After you work your way through maybe 10 to 15 hours of the story, there are only a few activities that the player can really continue to engage in. You have the Falcon Lost Incursion, which was recently released with the latest update. You have challenge mode for each mission, and you have farming and grinding to craft the perfect items for your character. Now, the Incursion, which was expected to be a raid-like activity, turned out to be nothing more than a single-room horde mode. Yep. You enter a large enclosed area with an APC tank at the back of the room, and you take on 15 different waves of enemies. There really isn't anything new here, aside from a new drone enemy that can stun the player and several bomb phases where the player picks up a bomb and plants it on the APC for massive damage. And even though I found the activity challenging, it just wasn't all that entertaining. And I'm not even going to get into how the exploits and the new gear have completely destroyed any balance this game might have had. The challenge missions, which you can complete daily for endgame currency, are actually going to be difficult the first time you try them. But only because your gear just can't compete with these stupid shotgun guys that can clear out your whole team by themselves. Gosh, I hate those guys. Luckily, this only happened once or twice. After getting some good gear, the mode becomes laughable and can even be completed solo. And lastly, the endgame crafting grind. I cannot tell you how crazy people were getting on Twitch streams when it came to grinding out materials and attempting to craft that perfect item, you know, the one that would give them, what, 1,000 more health or 1,000 more damage per second? And to be honest, it's no surprise why people started to take advantage of exploits found within the game. Yeah, no thanks. All in all, the game's cover system, gameplay, graphics, and atmosphere do a great job of displaying Ubisoft's artistic talent. There's also plenty of customization in regards to talents, skills, weapons, armor, and, well, clothing. But the downright grindy and repetitive nature of this game really got to me. Add to that the fact that there really isn't a good PvP system in place, and well, you have a game that didn't even last a week. Now, if you're the type of player that enjoys grindy MMO-esque games that require you to farm the same enemies over and over to perfect your character, then you might enjoy the game, and I would encourage you to check it out. But if you're like me, I'd advise you to save your money and just look the other way. It's just not worth it. So with that being said, my final score for The Division is a 6 out of 10. It would have been lower, but like I said, this game is likable to a certain crowd, and the developers have done a great job at listening to the community and releasing fixes for the game. But none of that can really cover up the fact that this was one of the most disappointing video game releases of my lifetime. And that's something I never thought I would say about this game. But it is what it is. Well, everyone, it's time for me to head out. Once again, my name is FJ, and I hope to see you all again on the next episode of Digital Pizza. Peace out.